All right. Aloha, everyone. Ghosts of Hawaii. And as always, you know who. Doing something a little bit different right now. Update, first and foremost. Since the spirit attack at Aloha earlier in October, I have given myself a lot of leeway and a lot of time to try my best to fully recover. Hi, Renee. It's good to see you. It's really good to see you. So I've been giving myself time to recover from the spirit attack. Of course, that spirit attack has thrown a huge monkey wrench into my original plans for Halloween. So look forward to a show on Thursday about Pele. I still haven't really gotten a hold of my other guests yet, and the reason why I haven't done that, Darth Bigelow, it's good to see you. Mama, it's good to see you. The reason why I haven't really done that just yet is I haven't really felt the need to fully put myself into that. It's I guess I when I recover from this or in the process of recovering from the spirit attack, I just want to um, let that healing happen on its own without forcing anything. But it is what it is, as they say. And so during the month of October, I will try my best to continue to bring you some good and interesting content involving the paranormal. And yes, that's exactly what it is, Renee. It is Halloween, and it'll be here soon enough. Right before you know it, it will be Halloween. So what I decided to do was, it was yesterday. I was kind of reflecting upon all these different experiences that I've had in the past with ghosts. Actually going out and visiting haunted locations, and there's quite a few of them. Brandon, it's good to see you. Thank you for stopping by tonight. And of course, I hopefully I left you folks all enough of a notification that my shows are now coming on a little bit later because there's other people in the paranormal community here in Hawaii that are putting out their content as well. So I decided to um, be respectful, and so now I carry on the late shift here with what I'm doing. So 9:30 shows until up until I'm not too sure if I'm doing a Halloween show on Halloween night, although it seems like I should, right, to do a Halloween show. So, but I do have a surprise. Well, I don't know if it's really a surprise, but on October 30th, you all will be receiving a live stream about my part two of what happened to me. I guess I could say that it's part two. So there'll be a live stream for that on October 30th. October 31st, I'm not too sure. I might just chill with a guest or something. It's just still up in the air. And tell you the truth, last year there was some weird things that happened. It's so good to see you, Tessie, I believe, right? Good to see you. Last year, some weird things happened. I was doing an event, trying to do an event for Therese Wilder. If anyone knows about Therese Wilder and the haunting of Therese Wilder up at Morgan's Corner, I tried to do something with that, but unfortunately, that didn't transpire. So, hey, last year there was a monkey wrench. This year, there's a monkey wrench. Usually, when I do events for Halloween, just to let you know, those that are new to my channel or just following me overall, whatever you want to call it, overall, things get kind of scary at Halloween time when I do events. They tend to get very scary when they actually go through. But again, tonight I'm going to be sharing two stories with you folks from, call it what you will, my experiences. And I think each one has its own. Actually, I think both of them, these two stories that I'm sharing with you tonight, they tie in together. They have an actual moral to the story. So some of the stories are just, that I intend to share in the future, are just like these little snippets of, experiences that I've had with ghosts and other things that are out there. But tonight, these stories have a connection of some sort, and there is nobody behind me, by the way. There's a connection to them. So, yeah, we will. I will be going into those stories in a moment, and hopefully, you folks have all been doing well. Like I said, look forward to a show on Thursday night about Pele. We're having Kuhao come back for that, and I'm going to try and get another guest for Pele probably by the end of this week, and we'll be doing that as well. And then whatever else I can put in between. Look forward to that show about automatic writing with our guest Jamie. Fantastic guest. We had her a couple days ago. Earthbound Spirits. If you were watching that, that was a great, fantastic show. Fun as well. Really, really fun. So she will be coming back. Uh, I think I'll be having Joe Punohu as well, but I need to contact him and some other people too. So anyway, let's more or less get settled down. And you know how the routine is here, folks. The talk in the dark is just like any of my shows. If I'm doing interviews and everything else, everybody kick back. This is your time when you can just relax and take it easy. No social distancing here. You guys are well far enough apart wherever you folks are listening. No need for face mask or anything else like that. So let's get down to our stories for the evening. Oh, Kuhao, it's good to see you, and you're very welcome, my friend. Thank you all for stopping by. Now, in the past, when I have done my work in the paranormal, I know some people have shown a concern that I go into the I go way into the spooky zone. I go way into that. And it's because I know other people are sharing other things. And I myself, I believe in God. I believe in being spiritually directed to things that are good. I believe in that there is goodness out there. Definitely. There are angels and wonderful resources for protection and for leading a good life. But I feel that part of the things that I do is to examine the other side of that fence where everything is a bit more uneasy and scary. And somehow I believe when doing that, it may draw people more to the light. So that's why I do these type of storytelling. I've been told that in the past when I tell stories, if it's in person, when I do tell stories, that it has actually affected the environment. Seriously, this is at haunted places. This is what people tell me, that for some reason things kind of like react to me telling stories. But hey, we're all safe right now, more or less. Although right before I start, I got to tell you something. Earlier tonight, and I know I told you folks in the past about it seems like this house that I live, well, this place that I live in is haunted. I was in the kitchen and I was making myself some dinner when there was this really loud, spooky scratching sound. It wasn't the cats. Let me tell you, it wasn't them. They weren't even near the area. And it sounded like it was scratching against the wall, which is really weird and impossible because and this has happened in the past, okay? This has happened with one of my dolls, just to let you folks know. And I forgot about that, and only now I'm remembering that. Rosina, it's nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Like, I actually heard someone scratching on a cement wall. And what I did was, in one of my old videos when that happened, I went up to the wall and I tried to scratch it myself, and you cannot scratch cement. It doesn't make a scratching sound. But that happened. It was a very loud scratching sound. If you live in a certain place, you're used to the sounds of your neighbors and everything. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with all of you, just to let you know something really weird and spooky happened. And like I said, this is part of what I do. So if you like spooky stuff, this is my version of the crazy stuff that has happened. In one variation or another, you may have heard some of this before. These are two stories. One for sure I know you really didn't hear. The other one has to do with a series of things that not only go bump in the night, but scream as well. So let's get down to the first story. So this happened to me several years ago. In the course of doing social media, people started getting very intrigued with what I was doing. I was going out to all these scary places, and I would come home, and late at night, I would write out all of my experiences, and then I would post it out there, and people would read that. So eventually, people wanted to get together. I used to have these meetups every once in a while, and then they became quite popular. So there was this one particular group of people that contacted me and said, "Well, can you show us around? Can you more or less kind of be like a tour guide for us and let us see some of the places that you've gone to?" Along the way, they also kind of like wanted to learn how to handle situations that are scary. Thank you for stopping by. Mahialani, I think it is. Thank you for stopping by. So yeah, and I decided, okay, I'll meet up with them. It's not the first group of people that I met. So we did meet up, and I showed them around that night. Took them to several different places, talked to them about what I feel was going on with the type of ghosts and spirits that were around. Um, Gave them an idea on how to deal with, an unexpected set of circumstances, whether it was there or if a spirit follows you home or something along those lines. And that went fairly well. That went fairly well. Until they called me up a second time and wanted, the group this time was smaller, and they wanted to get together, and what they wanted to do was further their understanding with ghosts and spirits. And so I told them, sure, let's get together. I didn't see nothing wrong with that. They seemed very respectful. These were people that were in the military as well. Very, very nice, respectable gentlemen that wanted to get together. And so we planned for a night out to see what was going on. Let me see who's speaking. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have put that in the description, Kodak. This is my talk in the dark that I have. I'll fix my title, and this is where I sit down with the people that want to hear stories, and this is my more personal connection with the people that follow my channel, and I share stories. Yeah, that's no problem. That was my phone. Oh, hi, Kodak from I. Oh, Ia, very nice, cool. Ia has some scary places too, from what I heard. So yeah, and thank you for telling me that, Kodak. Thank you so much. It does. I would like to hear about that afterwards. And by the way, Renee, I will answer your question after you remind me, since I'm in the middle of telling a story and stuff. No problem at all. I will change that. Anyway, so we did get together, and you know how it is in Hawaii. The weather can be unpredictable. So when we got together, we met at, as a matter of fact, there's a place where I usually meet people. It's a very haunted cemetery that I meet them at. So we got together in front of the cemetery. I never tell people meet me in the cemetery. We don't, break into cemeteries or anything like that. So we met over there, and it was starting to rain, and it's like, well, we're trying to decide, where am I going to take them? Where are we going to go? What place can we see and go to? Because there's several places to try and get a better understanding of the paranormal, including a cemetery of all places. So, but I told them, well, it's starting to really kind of rain, so the only place I can think of for shelter, because we're doing outdoor work, is let's go up to Old Pali Drive. Because the reason why I mentioned that to them is, like, there's, like, if you've been up there before, you've seen my videos, it's like a tree tunnel up there. And I've been there when it rains, and it's not as bad. I have to give them something to work with, because they showed up and they wanted to experience something. So we did go up there, and I showed them several of the locations where it's very, very active. But they really wanted to experience a little bit more, or they were very intrigued. And I said, well, there's one place I can take you to besides the ones you've already seen, and that's a place that you've never ever been to before. So if you folks really want to do this and you really want to see something, or well, I mean, experience something new, then of course I'll do that for you. And aloha to the people coming in and saying hello, Sista and everyone else. So anyway, so we drive to another location. We get out of the car. We get out of the car, and I that was the first sign. That was the first sign. Um, Usually, when I get out of the car at this place, it really feels like these energies, spirits, whatever you want to call them, they kind of like start to just rush forward around you. And I warned them. I said, this is a very active place that I'm taking you to, and you have to bear with me with what can possibly happen. I told them that you'll probably hear noises, definitely hear noises. You may hear what sounds like someone following you or following, it might be following the group or one person. You might have an individual experience, you might have a group, a shared experience. So I warned them about that. They still wanted to go. And I figured, well, they're in the military, right? They're probably trained in some way to handle some things, right? That are unexpected. So we proceeded to go to this place. I call it the Trail of Terror. I will not give the name of the location. I call it the Trail of Terror because all the things that I described to them are things that happen. Truly, absolutely happen. This is a place that will push you to your limit, and but they wanted to get an idea of what Hawaii is all about and the spirits that are here. And so we walked upon the Trail of Terror. And it must have been, and trust me, it lives up to its name, must have been about 5 minutes in that we started to notice that weird, eerie feeling. Like it gets, when you walk up, when you're on the outside of the trail, yeah, you feel you're very much so being observed. When you're in there, you're in their element now. You don't have the option of just hopping in your car and driving away. You actually committed yourself to go into their place. And the further and further we went in, yeah, things started to change. The things that I talked about, you could hear someone following you in the bushes and everything. It was really, really intense. For me, I understand the area a little bit more because I've been there a few times. This was new for them. Absolutely new. So at first, they were just being observant, and letting me lead them. But after a while, it got really bad, and to the point where things or spirits were calling them out, actually calling them out, and they began to get more and more affected. That's a good word, affected by what was going on around them. Finally, we reached our location. There was this big clearing, and when we got up there, I told them, I said, I'm glad I'm able to at least give you somewhat of an idea of what can happen when you go to a highly active place. Feel free to look around here for a bit. And at this point, I got to tell you as well, at this point in everything, we are far away from the car. Anything happens at that point, it's at least a 20-minute walk. That's a walk. And you got to be careful how you walk on this trail too. 20-minute walk to get out, at least 20 minutes. So things happen when you're in that kind of a situation. Things happen to your perception, everything else. You're not living along the normal set of standards that you live, even when you visit like a haunted cemetery or something else. You're in an entirely different place, and trust me, the scary thing about it is you are at the mercy of whatever is out there. Seriously. Spirits they can be observant, they can even be understanding, but this is a place where different things happen. no joke about it. And So I told them, I said, go and look around. Take your flashlights, look around this place, buddy system, stay together type of thing. And, I was kind of like, tailing them. Of course, I'm not going to stand in the dark and wait while they do what they're doing, but I'm allowing them, I'm observing them while they look around and see how they interact with the environment. And then all of a sudden, there was this feeling, this very strong feeling like we had to get back to the beginning of this clearing. We had to get right back there near the trail. So if anything were to happen, we can just go down the trail of terror, walk out 20 minutes or so, get back to the car, and then that's it. And so we got back to the front. And it was around that time that for myself, I felt a need to look to the right. And as I looked to the right, I really felt that there was someone there or something there watching. And that was scary. That was absolutely scary. I mean, because it was whatever that thing was. I couldn't say if it was human or otherwise, but what I got the impression of was this entity was very much so, uh, it, for lack of a better word, ferocious. It was just, it meant uh, to do harm. So, I was just about just like ready to leave, but, being in this field, I wanted to take a photograph. So I lifted up my camera that was around my neck and I pointed the camera right in the direction into the darkness where I knew this entity was. And I took a photo. And right after that, and this is hard to talk about, this is really hard. But right after that, a few seconds went by, and there was this, call it a scream, call it a roar, but it was extremely, extremely loud. Now, I need to kind of hit the pause button right there. I've been to places where I hear screams. Okay. And when it comes to spirits, when they scream, just like up at Paradise Park, they say there's a banshee over there. Okay. I've heard the banshee of Manoa, and that ain't no human being. Okay. This kind of sound that you hear is not capable of being replicated by a human being. You can't do this type of noise. And this was absolutely loud. It was like that, very loud. But I mean, not like that. The banshee was loud. This was like a roar. Let me describe it to you. If you ever gone to the movies, let me give you something to work with. Okay, um, if you're in a theater and you're watching a movie like Jurassic Park or something like that, right? You know that surround sound that you hear, like when the T-Rex um, comes after everyone, and is like that roar that it makes, that sound, that angry sound, like it's gonna hunt you down and do something to you. That's exactly what it sounded like. If I heard like, and I've heard screams up there too in the past. I've heard screams. I've heard growls up there. There's been weird things that have happened up there. People have heard what sounded like goats and all kind of weird stuff. But this was like being in a movie theater. This is like, surround sound. And literally, I am so grateful that my legs didn't give out from under me. I am so grateful that we immediately left. And I have to describe this to you too. When you leave this location, there's no way you can run. There's no way you can run. I've walked out of this place with people saying the Saint Michael's prayer, like when the screams and the growls show up at certain times in the past. But this was well beyond that, and we're really trying to. And these people that were with me, they turned around as soon as that, and I don't blame them, because I think we were all synchronized, and we all turned around and we started to get out of there as quickly as possible. And I swear to you that I know that if we did not turn around at that moment, whatever that thing was going to come right at us, right at us. I didn't want to think about what happens after the scream. I was just concerned about getting out of there. That's what my concern was, is getting out of that place. And so we made our way out, and it's a really unsettling feeling because you just heard this roar like a T-Rex or whatever the hell that was, and we're leaving that place, you know. And I'm thinking it's behind us while we're walking out. I don't want to turn around and look. This is a place where I took a picture before, and I had a photo of what looked like a man's face coming out of the bushes in the dark on the Trail of Terror. Why would a man's face be there? Why would a man's face be coming out of the bushes? That's the kind of thing I'm thinking that thing's going to be behind us, or maybe whoever was in the bushes when I took a photo before is going to be there, right there. That's the kind of things that run through your head, and you get out of that place as quickly as you can. And one of the scary things about coming out of the Trail of Terror and you go to your car, sometimes you'll hear things back in that place that you were just at. I've heard dogs howling, I've heard chanting, you name it, I've heard it. Probably heard it up there. And you're already safe by your car, but it's happening in that place. And we got in that car, and I swear we were talking another language. Everybody was babbling. Everybody was just, talking, trying to make sense of what they just experienced, including myself. And they never called me again after that. Trust me. They never did. I wanted to share with you something else that could possibly be what was the thing that was screaming up there. This was several years before that encounter as well, about maybe 8-9 years ago. And we were in the same location, and usually we do very quiet work. We were very respectful. We do protocol and everything when we go to places. And even though it was a night, where nothing much happened, it's what showed up. Yes, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like in the movie. Even though nothing showed up in front of us, it showed up in my friend's camera. This is the same place that I'm telling you about. Now, in this photo, there was something that must have been at least 15 feet tall or more. And there was this rock, this tall rock and tree, and it gave a comparative to the size of this creature. And as a matter of fact, it was so tall. I remember what my friend said. This creature had to bend down near this rock in the distance to show its face. That's how tall it was. Its entire body didn't fit within the screen. It had to bend down and show its face, which kind of looked like a cross between some type of wolf and something else that is just unidentifiable. Honestly, that's the stuff of nightmares. To think about that there are things like this wandering around. You've heard me share my story about Kanaka Nunui. Now, was this Kanaka Nunui? Was this the giant that we encountered on the blood moon? That's for people that have been keeping up with my channel. But yes, we did encounter an entity like that just showed up out of nowhere, as if it was opening a door from its world and entering into our world. That's a possibility. These type of things don't happen all the time. I remember one time we were up at Old Pali Lookout with a group of people, and we were doing a spirit box session. And, when you're up there, you expect to hear the Hawaiian things like the pahu, the drums, You know that people have heard conch shells and chanting. Well, this night, what we heard was this unbelievable, weird screaming that it doesn't sound like it came from any animal that I know. You're out in the field, you hear owls and everything. You're able to identify that. And this is over, if you've ever been up to the Pali Lookout, this is over the side of the lookout, right out there, like it was out there somewhere, where there was that couple of 100-foot drop, but it was in front of us, levitating or whatever the heck it was doing, and it was screaming. There was another time that happened as well. I remember my friend had parked her car about maybe 100 yards from Judd Trail. 100 yards from Judd Trail. And she didn't want to get out of the car that night. So I said, hey, I'm going to go take some photographs. I'll be right back. Get out of the car, take my camera out, ready to do what I do, see if I can get some photos. The night didn't feel safe at all. It just did not feel safe. You know what? Thinking back on that, that wasn't a wise thing for me to do. But I got out of the car and I started walking towards Judd Trail, and I must have been about 20 feet from the pillars that you can sit on out there. And again, I heard something that wasn't human. It just was not human. It was a mix of different type of sounds, I mean, it sounded like something that wanted to fight, something that wanted to just give a warning. It's something, it sounded like you hear animals give warnings, right? Like if you come any closer, I'm going to do something. It was a conflict of different sounds, but it was definitely something that was going to do something if I took one more step. And I tell you, there was no more steps. There was none. I turned around and I walked right back to the car. And by the time I got to the car, my poor friend was totally freaking out. Half her face was eyeballs. That's how big her eyes got. He's like, I heard that. I said, I know I heard it too. So let's go. Let's get out of there. Which we did. And these are the type of things. I remember doing a show a couple weeks ago with a friend of mine, and he said, all these years later, I am affected by what happened. All of these years later, I am affected. And yeah, I understand that because I'm still affected by that. Sometimes I'm out there at some location, and sometimes you just feel like flinching, because I've also heard things that sounded like whatever was screaming knocked down a tree. No joke. Like whatever was, because I've heard trees get knocked over. I've heard that. And when you hear this type of stuff, just like the screams, you don't want to hang out and find out what did that. You don't want to do that. All you want to do is leave. Thankfully for me, these things are far and few in between. Oh, hello there, Dave. And so this is some of the things that have happened that involved screams. Not the ones that we hear of, the classic sound of a ghost that is screaming for its own reason out in the dark, but things that could be much, much worse than that. And so that's the story that I wanted to share with you about screams. This next story has to do with what happens when someone does not take the paranormal seriously. And again, it involves someone that I met on social media that wanted to, was interested in getting together. And because of the type of people that I just told you about, the curious ones that want to come out, I don't mind giving them a moment or two of my time and showing them around. This person told me Excuse me 1 second, everybody. Sorry about that. I mean, the more I do this work, um, whichever it comes out as being on YouTube or whatever, you're going to have people that are going to try and be intrusive. They're going to try and push their viewpoints and everything else. And I to an extent I understand that. I do, but I also say, you. I think that person has better things to do with their time than interrupting my live stream. So I removed the person. Hi, Skippy. It's good to see you. Really good to see you. Of course, it very well could be a troll. That's just part of life, right? So get rid of the person and move on. So this story has to do with a person that really thought they knew what they were talking about, just like the person I removed. I won't get into the whole thing why people do the paranormal and all that stuff. You've been around long enough. With people that do it, they explain themselves, and I've explained myself or said why, that there's a personal reason behind it. Anyway, this person wanted to get together because they wanted to share with me that they had experiences in the past with the paranormal. And at first I was like, okay, well then, you have an understanding of things. And when we go out, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But when that person would go out, when I first started going out with this person, they would just do very odd and strange things. Aristocat, is good to see you. Very odd and strange things. And I'm like, well, we don't want to antagonize. We don't want whoever's out there to be upset with us. And I thought from what this person was sharing with me, it's like, well, you understood this. That when we go out there, we are pretty much observing. Pretty much, for the most part, we're observing, if not just observing. So these get-togethers got more and more strange, and then person started telling me like, back in the day, me and my family, we would get out and we would go to these locations, and we had all of these incredible experiences. And I love to hear this stuff. Just like I encourage people on this stream, if you have something you want to share it. I love to hear it. But the stories kept getting more and more outlandish, until one night when I was sitting down with that person with some other people. They said something totally, it bears not repeating, but it was so outlandish. It was so crazy that I said, no, that never did happen. That's not possible. Okay, I can't believe we're going to carry on with this conversation. That's how crazy the stuff that was being said. And I kind of had a feeling at that point that that person was crazy. And that happens sometimes. You crazy people will want to come out, and sooner or later you're going to find out that's exactly what they are. So I tried to work that out, and I said, you shouldn't be coming out and acting the way you do or saying the things you do. But there was one more experience that person wanted to have, or I was going to do with them. So we did this one last thing, and that is we went to Morgan's Corner. And we're sitting there in the dark, and we're talking. And we're, speaking about the place. We're sharing experiences that have happened there and everything. And it was about we probably were there about maybe 20, 30 minutes at Morgan's Corner. And when I do, this is the story to explain in my live streams when I tell you there's this voice that comes out of the wall. That's where this story comes into play and what happened after that, okay? So about the halfway hour mark, or 20 minutes, half an hour, we start I start to hear voices outside of the car, and at first it wasn't that loud. But as we're talking, it's and I'm used to going to places and spooky things happening. But as we continue to talk, the voices get louder. And so, uh, let me see what somebody wrote. Yeah, Renee, it was coming out of the wall. Hi, Skippy says, sitting in the dark for hours with good friends, usually in silence, listening, waiting, watching, hoping our group is worthy of a good experience that will give us amazing stories to tell. That's true. Matter of fact, hi, Skippy, I'll get a hold of you. If you're up to it, we're getting close to Halloween. Maybe we can do something and just sit around for a bit in the dark. She's actually been to this location. By the way, go follow Hi Skippy, everybody. Go check out her channel. It's pretty cool. Very much so, I think. Anyway, the noises start to get louder. The voices get louder outside. And now at this point, I also realized that the way the car is positioned up at Morgan's Corner, it's coming out from my side. Cool. Hi, Skippy. Awesome. I'll get a hold of you. It's coming out of my side of the window, and I look into the dark, and the only thing, I get the flashlight and I start shining it, and there's this old wall, this old that's been there for who knows how long. I don't even know who built this wall. It's just there at Morgan's Corner. And I'm like, the voices are coming out from there. And then it went from voices to like the sign of a presence there, you know? And that combination of voices coming out of the wall and someone in the wall to go with the voices, that was going to be a bit overwhelming. No, this is just voices. These are people talking. More than one. I've had experiences up there with more than one uh, voice talking up in that area. So I got really, at one point it just felt like this these entities were going to come straight out of the wall. I swear to you, and I can show you something that proves it. That they were coming out of the wall and they were just about to go into the car or do something to us and the car. So what I did was I said, get out of here now. And I said, get out now. And started the car and started to drive. But right before pulling out of Morgan's Corner, I pull out my camera again, like in that other story. I aim at the wall and I take a picture. I'm going to show you what I got in the picture. There's another picture that shows nothing there. There's two pictures I took, one with nothing there, but I'm going to show you what I got. Okay, so hold on one second. Let me take a look at this. Hold on one second. I lost my photo. Hold on one second, guys. I'll show you what I got in my photo. Hold on one second. Oops. That's what I got in my photo. That's exactly what I got. In the first, you can kind of see the wall in the back. You can see that old wall that I'm talking about. In the second photo, when I felt something was going to attack us, that's exactly what I got. So, and I don't know where that came from. It's probably some troll. But explain that to me. I don't know what that is. To me, it looks like energy coming out of the wall. So what happened afterwards? What happened afterwards is that we drove away. And we needed to find a place. Um, we needed to find a place to regroup. So what I did was I told my friend, okay, go drive down to the cemetery, park the car. It's well lit. No one's going in the cemetery. It'll be okay. So we did that. We did that. Let me move it a little bit more this way. And we were sitting in the car and we were talking. And we talked for a while about the experience and everything else. And then we started to talk about. Um, I have another picture to show you. We started to talk about what had happened and also the place that we were at, the cemetery, because a lot of stuff happened at that cemetery. So I had a GoPro camera with me. I had a GoPro camera, and was it a GoPro? I think it was the GoPro. But anyway, um, I wanted to take a picture. I was getting my camera ready to take a picture outside of the window of the car that I was in. So in the course of getting the camera ready, I took a photo, and this is what I got in the photo. Now, you can say whatever you want about it. To me, I can tell you what I see in this photo. I see an arm. I see a very large arm. Like right over here is the bicep, and this is the forearm, and there's the elbow right over there. That's the bicep, the forearm, and the elbow down here, almost like it's flexing. If you see a foot, then you see a foot. But let me tell you what happened after that. Um, because it was starting to get weird in the car too. It was starting to get really weird in the car. Things that you can feel that shift, that there's a spirit around. So we decided to get out of the car. And I got out of the car. That's where you're seeing this. That's where the door is. I went out on that side of the car. What you're seeing up here is the cemetery wall in the back. So I get out of the car, and as I go to close the car, I didn't take pictures of that, but there was what appeared to be very huge scratches. Very huge scratches on the door. That was pretty much enough for me, tell you the truth. Really was enough for me. I I was dealing with someone that wanted to accept the paranormal on their own terms. Um, get very far fetched in their thinking, in these places, and I'm not saying that this came after us because of that person, but I'm pretty sure after that night, that person was no longer taking things under their own terms when it came to the paranormal. They went from an unbeliever to a believer that things don't follow the way you want them to be. And I think that these last two pictures that I showed you, this one and the other one, definitely show that. Screams, all these other things. I can't tell you exactly what they are, but they're there. Let's see what Corey said. Corey says, I'd be stoked yet bummed if a ghost scratched my new truck. Uh, yeah, I guess so. Because, I mean, you can go around and say, hey, guess what? You know what this is from? This is from a spirit. But I don't know. To me, that looks like an arm. And I'd be scared of that. I'd be scared of something with an arm like that. I'd be really scared. Is that what scratched the truck the car on the outside? I mean, those scratches were pretty big, guys. Big scratches on the outside of the car. I was just too shocked, like, oh, I don't want to take pictures of that. I don't even know if it was permanent or just something that was just ghostly and went away, or I just saw big white scratches on the door. And I just didn't want to, I don't think I may have saw this picture, and I think that's what freaked me out more. I looked at the viewfinder. So when I went outside of the car, I guess I didn't want to be in the car. I did not want to be in the car after looking at that photos. Like, whoever you are, I don't want to be in the car. So I'm going to step out of the car and, figure out what to do next. And when I stepped out of the car, that's when the scratches were found. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Lopaka Kapanui was doing a great live stream tonight, talking about what to do when spirits come after you or do stuff around you, right? He's absolutely right. When you go home, you have to do something. You have to try to remove all of that. If it's an attachment or something following you home, there's ways to do that. He said the thing that I found very important as well about going and cleansing yourself, going into the ocean. Or he even brought up a really good advice. He said, what I do is I go home, I take a shower, and I pray, and I wash off the energy. What he said was interesting. He said he uses Hawaiian salt to wash his body down. It's like simulating the ocean in a way. Very, very good advice. But yeah, you got to do something after an experience. When you see something like that, you got to do something. You got to do something, I mean, and that this is what becomes part of your life, with the paranormal and everything, is that you got to do something while you're there. You got to do something when you go home, and you got to make sure everything is pono and nothing follows you and your life doesn't spiral out of control. Does this serve a purpose? Well, I said so in the beginning of my live stream. To get another, sometimes a better understanding of the dark, it can actually make you have more of a reason to feel to being involved with the light. You see stuff like this, or you experience stuff like this. I was experiencing weird stuff before I got into the paranormal, which brought me to moments like that. But it made me, I shouldn't have done it, honestly. I don't think I would recommend you encountering that. But I've become a more prayerful person. And that's helped my life more because now I have an understanding what was going on with myself. Yes, Hawaiian salt. Take a go if you experience something that if you feel like something is weird that's happening to you and it's not normal, it's spiritual, whatever. Take a shower and pray. Wash all of that energy off of you. He also said something about it feels like there's layers. If you don't acknowledge what happened to you, like these layers of energy will be on your body. So you have to know how to get rid of it properly. And that salt would work too, Renee. That would be very good to use. For some, it's salt is a very cleansing type of element to use against spirits. So trust me, when I went home after seeing what you see on this screen, I did. You better believe I'm doing something about that. But yeah, I mean, these stories have morals to them. They not so much be careful what you wish for, but though that's part of it. Some boxes or some doors are not meant to be open, or should not be tempted for them to be open at all. Corey saying, I've had a friend have a very big handprint on his tailgate after hunting, fishing. I totally believe it. Absolutely believe it. Stories about handprints showing up on people. I just had not long ago someone was talking to me about something and showed me a photograph of what looked like a very large hand print, scratches, all these other things. Is this a glimpse that we're looking at here? of what is causing these things to happen. I I can only hope that that isn't the case, you know. But since it is unexplainable, it falls into that category. It does fall into that category. And like I said, you see something like that, you don't want. I practically would have wanted to just walk back to Honolulu since I was given a ride that night, rather than go back into that car. So again, these are some of the things that I have experienced working in this field, and coming out here and sharing it. It's a bearing of experiences and your heart and everything else that is important. And it's going to be um, challenging at times, because we live in a world where people want the paranormal to fit a certain type of criteria, and I understand that. We all want the spooky, we all want to see the shadow in the dark, or whatever the case may be, but it's more than that. Corey says, yeah, had friend get slapped on his chest for sleeping on Hanakapia beach trail in the early morning. Not the smartest move by him. I've heard of stuff like that too. We did a show on night marchers a few nights back, and one of my earliest ghost stories that I remember growing up here in Hawaii was my dad and my friend talking about people that slept on the trail, mountain trails, and of night marchers, and being physically lifted up in the dark, and they didn't get killed, but they got tossed off the trail. You know, just literally manhandled. And I think in some way it's important. I think stories here in Hawaii, ghost stories and such, they are the warning signs, right? They are the sirens that go off to let people know, be careful what you do, because these places are very, very real. And once in a while, we get some type of proof of that, like in those photos. And like, that's not the only photos that I have. I have some crazy photos um, that just leave me baffled. But hopefully they serve a purpose. I mean, like, I'm dealing with people, like you saw when I put up that picture. Someone was trolling me, sending me some kind of weird obscene message or something. You got to deal with those people. You got to deal with that. But is the message more important than all of the ridicule that people try to put in front of you? Yeah, it's important. And hopefully, you watch these live streams, and it in some way it helps you. Because I wish I had someone trying to help me, but that wasn't the case. I mean, I had God. I just wasn't in tune the way I should be. Now it's different. But hopefully it helps somebody. And these are some of my stories. These definitely are some of the more crazy things that happen, because there are nights when it's just like, okay, maybe I do see the classic, there's something white floating in the background. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, a few footsteps, no more than that. You get barely a glimpse of these ghosts. And then you get stuff like what I just showed you just now, which is the crazy side of it. Absolutely crazy. And I don't know, I try my best. I always tell you folks, oh, if you want to get a hold of me, go on social media. I got people contacting me on social media telling me, I got something that just happened at my home or something like that. What do you recommend for me to do? And I'm in that position where I have to give the best advice that I can. So I I guess based upon some of these things, I just speak from the heart. That's all you really can do, and hope for the best. And it's getting closer to Halloween. It really is. I don't know if any of you watching right now experience weird things around Halloween. I know for the past couple of years, the people that have been working in the paranormal have been experiencing things. And some of them are like, I'm not going to lie to you, some of them are like horror movies. I haven't even shared those stories yet because um, I just feel really bad for the people it happened to. I feel really bad that it happened to them. And maybe one day I can share that, and maybe that's something else that helps somebody else in some way. But I'll probably share, maybe, and depending on my recovery from the spirit attacks, share some more stories with you. Yeah, it does. You know what I noticed too? It does pick up Kuniko. I noticed this too. That on Halloween night, what's really crazy, it's happened to me in the past. That, and if you agree with this, you can either say it now, or if whoever's watching, leave me a comment or something. But sometimes, oh, oh God, that was weird. Oh God, that was weird. Sorry about that, guys. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Are you guys all there? Oh my God, my camera just got knocked off the table. How? I mean, I have it on a tripod, and I had it secure, but it just popped up. It could just be anything. Just when we were talking about this, I was just gonna say that things happen on Halloween night that you don't expect. Like, say you're getting ready for a get together or something, and something stupid happens, and yeah, everything's good. Something stupid happens, and it's like, why of all nights? Why on Halloween? Why on this night does this thing have to happen to me? No, I mean, no miss. It's happened so many times in the past. You're planning to do something and something goes stupid on Halloween night. Just totally chaotic, or whatever you want to call it. Just, you know, whatever. And like I said, my camera just went flying off of the tripod. And I have it pretty much on a good camera grip. That's weird. I mean, of course, it can easily be explained. But then again, the timing is just so weird. That's funny. Hopefully the stream didn't cut off, because it just flew off the table and bam, went on the floor. And so again, it's really weird because that happened to Lopaka tonight doing his live streaming as well. And it happened to me on my scary stories of Old Polly Road. That happened too. It was really strange. It's so weird. It's that time of year for weird things, though, isn't it? Um, so yeah, that's about it for tonight. I didn't want to go past two stories. I just said, two stories would be good enough for tonight. Aristocat says, my good friend Aristocat, enjoying this live stream tonight. I'm in my car of my driveway and it's dark. I can hear a woman humming for 5 minutes now and no one around. Oh, jeez. Well, I did. Didn't I put that up in my? Didn't I put that up in my flyer for the show? I said, turn off the lights. Listen to the story. Yeah, the camera fell down, Kuhao. Turn off the lights. Listen to this story in the dark. And sure enough, Aristocat is having a very spooky experience. And Renee, you're so welcome. And it's always good to see you, Renee. Hi Skippy says, on Halloween 2 years ago, I think we actually went through a time loop. Remember our drive from Honolulu to North Shore that took 6 hours? Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh, we went to the haunted beach house. I always wanted to go back there, Hi Skippy. I don't know if we can, but I would like to go back there. Um, Figure out if we can figure that out maybe one day, if it's possible. But yes, I remember that quite well. And that's when I did the Halloween show a couple of years ago from the haunted beach cabin. Oh, you're very welcome. Very glad to share stories with you folks. I mean, but when I tell these stories too, yeah, um, the storytelling can be very interesting. It can be very gratifying. At the same time, it can be very scary because you can actually put yourself back into that place with the story you're sharing. Corey, did you send it before that the number, what? Not the number strip on the road or the tires. What is that about, Corey? Let me know. I'm not sure. Um, it is on COVID lockdown right now. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I totally understand that with the way the world is going crazy with the way the world is with the virus. Cool. How? Oh, shucks. Sorry, your camera fell. At least you got it back on the tripod. Yeah, I did. But it just went boom. The other night, it was my device that I use for my interviews. You know, when I talk to people like you, Kuhal, it the stories of old scary stories of Old Polly Road. Boom. But then again, you know, I was walking and moving. I definitely think I tripped the wire, but it was still weird. It was kind of funny. But this one was like boop, and it's Halloween. It's October. Who knows? You ever notice that how the holidays work out? First, you go through Halloween. You got to go through all this scary, spooky stuff, right? And then after that, we have the happier holidays. We got Thanksgiving, where you're thankful for things, you know? And then you have Christmas, which is a joyful holiday of love and giving. It's just really, I don't know, it's just interesting, you know? You go through all the spooky, then you go through all the good. So maybe sometimes that's how things are, you know? Who knows? But what song are they humming there, Aristocat? I wonder. Yeah, it's going to start happening. Is it October or November? The Makahiki starts. And during that particular time of the year, you should not be around Hawaiian places. That's what I've learned. If I go, everything is observation. But I've noticed during that time of the year, it gets very active. Not always in a scary way, but it gets active. Very good point. It is also Makahiki. Yeah. I think October. Is it October or November that it starts? Kuhao, the Makahiki. Yeah, remember Aristocat? What happened with Lopaka earlier tonight? November. See, I was right. November. So that's from November, and I think it's like to the middle of January or so. I think Kuhao might have said that, something like that. But yeah, it's the time of Makahiki, and that's when I usually take my break. This year, my break is going to be longer because of social media and the toxic um, viewpoints and environments that are going on in social media. I don't want to have anything to do with it, so I'm on break. You know, you might see a little bit less videos and stuff. You know, but I'll still be putting things out there here and there. Oh, and by the way, folks, I have a new channel that's going to be coming out. Look for that announcement in the weeks to come, and I'll let you know more about that because I'm in the beginning of it. It's going to be a fun little project for me. Nothing wandering around in the dark with things screaming or chasing me, but I'll let you know about it. Yeah, good to take a break. You're absolutely right about that. Makahiki season is next month, uh, going to November to the Heiau next month, early in the morning at 4 a.m. Okay, cool. See, it happens in November. And but like I said, I'm on a long vacation with pina coladas if necessary. But yeah, I need to just clear the air. You know, I come back once, not on YouTube, but on social media. I come back at a certain time of the year, and with great hesitancy, I have my groups that I got to take care of, and I tend to them. And by the time October comes around, I just want to get the heck away from everybody. No offense. It's just the social media and me, we don't get along at all. I love YouTube. I love talking to you guys. It's on a whole different level here. But no, I just can't take all the negativity. So, good night, my friend. I am all done myself. 2 stories tonight. Look for Kuhao this Thursday. Stories of Pele. We're going to talk about Pele. I'm also going to be having, see if I can have my other guest that's going to be sharing about volcanoes and encounters with Pele as well. If I don't get that by this weekend, probably the start of next week, and other shows that'll be coming up as well. I'm taking it one day at a time, considering everything that has happened. October 30th, look for your Halloween live stream. In case I don't do nothing on Halloween night, October 30th, it's going to be a live stream in well, you'll find out, not a live stream at home. You'll get a live stream. You definitely will. What does Cool House say here? Obaki, do you still want to do this special 80s or the night before Halloween? I got songs I can send to you. Sure, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Our group is having our Facebook group is having an 80s party. People are going to be listening to music and such at home to have a, more of a nice Halloween. Good night. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it, Sista. Thank you so much for that. I will be talking to you folks again soon. Hopefully you enjoyed me telling you these things that really freaked me out. Brandon, it's so good to see you and everyone else. And I will talk to you all again soon. Yes, we're having if you're on my group, Ghosts of Hawaii, we're doing an 80s night, October 30th. People are going to be playing music, sharing pictures, whatever they want from the 80s. So we all stay home and we all have a, good Halloween, right? Don't have to go out, especially this year. And we just have some fun with that. Oh, you're very welcome, Tessie. Yeah, Renee, I agree. Sweet UFO dreams. That's a good one. I like that. Thank you, Kuhao, and I appreciate that. I enjoy sharing these a talk in the dark with people. I enjoy doing. I mean, sometimes the trolls show up like tonight, but I enjoy it anyway. I really do. And so I wish you all a good night. Ghosts of Hawaii, you're home for a dose of ghosts and things that scream in the dark, unfortunately. But let's always turn to the light. Take care. God bless. Sweet dreams to you. Hi, Skippy. Always good to see you, sweetie. Aloha. Pa already. Go in the house, Aristocat. Get away from whoever's humming. I'll talk to you folks again soon. Aloha.